By now, you've probably heard some of my devotions that have been online, and you'll know that I like to tell stories to help illustrate and help illuminate biblical truths. But today, I want to do something a little bit different. I want to share with you just an account in Scripture of Jesus' last night here on earth. And I want you, as we go through this is written in all four Gospels, but I'm going to be reading from the Gospel of Matthew. I want you to notice three things that Jesus saw. Let's read. We're going to be here in Matthew 26, starting in verse 36. Then Jesus went with them to the olive garden called Gethsemane, and he said, "Sit here, and I'll go over there to pray." He took Peter and Zebedee's two sons, James and John. He became anguished and distressed. He told them, "My soul is crushed with grief to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." He went a little further and he bowed down on his face in the garden and he prayed, "My Father, if it's possible, let this cup of suffering be taken from me. Yet I want your will to be done, not mine." You see, the first thing Jesus saw on this last night was he saw the suffering he was getting ready to endure. The prophet Isaiah said he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our sin. The punishment that brought us peace was upon him. And by his wounds we were healed. But over the next 15 hours, Jesus was going to experience this pain, this brokenness, this hurt. He was going to stand before some of the greatest men of the day, some of the greatest politicians of the day. He was going to be beaten by Roman guards. He's going to have his beard plucked out, punched in the face, mocked, ridiculed, shamed. He was going to have to carry a heavy, heavy cross with a ton of blood loss, where he was probably facing all sorts of medical issues even before they nailed him to that tree where he hung and died. And the humanity of Jesus was seen as he was looking at over the next 15 hours of his life to his eventual death. He said, "If there's any way, Father, take this cup from me." Jesus saw the pain he was about to endure. But the second thing I want you to notice is this, starting in here in verse 40. Then he returned to his disciples and found them asleep. And he said to Peter, "Couldn't you watch with me even for 1 hour? Keep watch and pray so that you will not be given in temptation. For the spirit is willing, but the body is weak." And he went a little farther the second time, and he said, "Father, if this cup cannot be taken from me unless I drink it, your will be done." You see, the second thing Jesus saw was the people that he loved. In order to understand this a little bit better, you have to understand where this garden was situated. It was a little bit higher than all of Jerusalem, and it would probably be a wonderful place to go and just to look out over the city. And despite the pain and the agony and the death that awaited Jesus, he saw the people that he loved. He saw the three disciples that he brought with him that he loved. And he realized it was worth it. What was getting ready to happen was for them. It was the passion, the love that drove him to be able to experience this. But the third thing I want you to pay attention to is that he did this alone so that you and I wouldn't have to. Reading here in verse 42. Then Jesus left a second time and said, "My Father, if this cup cannot be taken away from me unless I drink it, your will be done." And then he returned to them again. He found them sleeping, for they couldn't keep their eyes open. So he went to pray a third time, saying the same thing again. And he came to his disciples and said, "Go ahead and sleep. Have your rest. But look, the time has come. The Son of Man is betrayed into the hand of sinners. Up, let's be going. Look, my betrayer is here." Jesus' friends were getting ready to desert him in his greatest time of need. Jesus knew this. He told them beforehand. Even Peter was going to deny him 3 times. But Jesus still took this agony of the cross so that me and you wouldn't have to go at this alone. You know, we live in a very uncertain time, and this world is a very tumultuous place. But because of Jesus' death, his burial and resurrection, and we accepting his gift of salvation, we don't have to ever do this alone. The Bible tells us he will never leave us nor forsake us. And in troubling times, that is some good news. So I want to ask you, and invite you this Friday at 6 o'clock. We have a Good Friday service that'll be online. Come and join us and experience what this event in the Garden of Gethsemane was leading up to. I hope you have a great day.